In our first story this morning, with just 99 days until this year's general elections, stakeholders are united in urging the protection of journalists as they cover election-related stories. This concern took center stage at a national dialogue on media freedom organized by the multimedia group right here in Accra. The event gathered key stakeholders, to discuss threats faced by media practitioners and explore ways to curb these risks as the election approaches. Carlos Caloni has a wrap of the event.
Organized by Multimedia Group Limited in collaboration with Denmark's Ministry of Foreign Affairs and CDD Ghana, the National Dialogue on Press Freedom in Accra, themed Defending Media Freedom, brought together key players from Ghana's media, the diplomatic community, civil society, political parties, and security agencies. Several panelists emphasized the crucial role of the press in elections and why there is the need to safeguard their rights. Deputy Danish Ambassador to Ghana, Vibeke Holm Pedersen, stressed the importance of a free press to democracy, but expressed concern over Ghana's decline on media freedom ranking.
We all know the challenges which has faced the media and the journalists in Ghana in recent years, leading to a drop of 30 rankings on the World Media Press Freedom Index in 2021, where Ghana declined from a 30th position to number 60. In the African ranking, Ghana fell from number 3 to number 13. I think everybody can agree that this development must be reversed. The government of Ghana did, during the Universal Periodic Review in the UN in 2023, support the recommendation put forward that Ghana should develop a national action plan to prevent attacks on journalists and to promote media freedom. Ghana has strongly shown its commitment to press freedom. Developing this action plan would further strengthen this commitment.
Director of Elections at the Electoral Commission, Benjamin Bano Bio, emphasized that the media plays an essential role in ensuring credible elections, underscoring the urgent need for journalists to be protected during the electoral process.
The media is indispensable in our quest to ensure successful election. As a commission, we consider the media as one of our critical stakeholders, and therefore the media must be protected to enable them to perform their duties professionally.
Representatives from the NDC, CPP, and Movement for Change emphasized the critical need to protect media freedom as the elections approach. Meanwhile, NCCE chairperson Kathleen Addy raised concerns about disinformation and urged the media to actively combat it.
On disinformation, misinformation, and fake news, especially in the context of politics and elections this year, we have already seen it. And some of the perpetrators will stand on this very spot that I'm standing and condemn others, yet they have machines set up to churn out fake news, disinformation, and misinformation in their bid to get power. Misinformation, disinformation, and fake news is a threat, not just to the democracy, but to the very existence. It's an existential threat to our state. And if we do not manage disinformation and misinformation well, we will find ourselves in a place that we don't want to be.
In his keynote address, Inspector General of Police, Dr. George Akufo-Addo, urged the media to refrain from declaring election results and to ensure that post-election reporting does not incite tensions.
The responsibility for declaring election results rests with the EC. So let's respect that. Because when results are declared wrongly from the wrong source and it becomes multiple in the environment, it is in itself a disinformation and misinformation, this time round not created by anybody, but we the carriers. And if you're able to do that for these elections, even if God called me to glory and nobody attend my funeral, I'll be happy. So whilst we try to report, let us manage it in such a way that the losers will feel respected, the winners will be allowed to be measured in their jubilation. Because at times, will be a near break. And now the mic I could, and then I'll pass over.
Dr. Dampari also assured that the Ghana Police Service has plans to support individual journalists and media houses before, during, and after the elections.
A lot of education is ongoing, and we are mainstreaming media education and protection of journalists and the media to a level that it is helping us to have a situation where we are gradually getting to a point where journalists are not being attacked by us. We have a lot of work to do in that angle. We want to assure you today that we'll continue improving so that a day will come, because it's one of the measures we are using to determine whether we have truly become the best institution in the country and a reference point for the rest of the world. So we does not take that of mainstreaming, this sense of protection of journalism and the media, we don't take it for granted.
The dialogue also featured a panel discussion where participants from various sectors emphasized the importance of responsible journalism. For Joy News, Carlos Galoni, Accra.
Leader of the Movement for Change, Alan Tremantin, has kicked off a vigorous meet and greet campaign across several key areas in Accra, using the opportunity to engage directly with the people, listening to their concerns and sharing his plan to transform the nation. Mr. Tremantin reiterated his commitment to job creation, which he described as a major issue for his future government, and that is what they will tackle. Kenneth Jesse was there and reports.
Alan Tremantin at the meet and greet emphasized the need to address the country's economic challenges. The former trade minister acknowledged the struggle many Ghanaians go through, particularly in finding stable and meaningful employment, promising an all-inclusive government which will provide equal opportunities for all.
Most people are complaining that this winner-takes-all syndrome does not help our country. MPP comes in, and once they get into power, all appointments are reserved for MPP members. If NDC is in power, all appointments are reserved for NDC. It doesn't make sense. The country is for all Ghanaians, not NDC and MPP. So Alan is talking about a government of national unity, where we can mobilize the strengths, the talents of all Ghanaians. Those who are in a position to do the job, they should be the ones who are giving the job.
At the Neoplan station, Mr. Tremantin indicated that his track record as trade minister ensured the establishment of several car manufacturing assembling plants in Ghana to augment the nation's transport system, an initiative he says will continue under his presidency.
The fact that when I was Minister for Trade and Industry, I was able to introduce a new policy to assemble vehicles, including buses, including articulated trucks in Ghana. It means that if I become president, I can improve the fleet for the transport sector. And what is even more interesting is that I'll make sure that government provides seed money and funding for drivers to own their own fleet on a work and pay basis.
The meet and greet campaign, which took Alan Tremantin to Mamobi, Nima, Newtown, Tiptoe Lane and Neoplan Station, is part of a broader strategy by the Movement for Change to connect with voters at the grassroots, ensuring their concerns are directly reflected in the party's policies.
President Nana Addo Akufo-Addo has assured that the Ghanaian people will conduct themselves in a way that disproves predictions of violence in the 2024 general election. He emphasized that the free will of the electorate will prevail over the ambitions of desperate politicians and political parties. The president also reaffirmed his commitment to stepping down peacefully, just as he assumed office, dismissing any allegations of potential rigging by his government or the NPP. Nana Aljima attended the 13th Biennial Conference of the Methodist Church, where the president made these remarks and has filed this report.
In about 100 days to the 2024 general election, calls for peaceful election has been re-emphasized by many. Presiding Bishop of the Methodist Church, Reverend Dr. Paul Boafo laid some emphasis on the need for all political actors to play their roles for a transparent and peaceful elections.
My humble advice is that the electorate must be resolute to elect those who will address the needs of Ghanaians. Let us do away with selfish candidates who will only be interested in their well-being.
In an address, President Akufo-Addo emphasized his obligation to ensure a peaceful and transparent election. He counts on the security agencies to play their role in ensuring the fruition of the objective.
It is the free will of the Ghanaian people, not the will of any candidate or political party, no matter how desperate for power, that will prevail on 7th December 2024. We cherish our reputation as a beacon of democracy on the African continent, and the conduct of the forthcoming elections will reinforce this reputation. I'm certain that the behavior of the Ghanaian people and their government and public authorities will put to shame all the naysayers, all the Jeremiahs, including, unfortunately, some persons of the cloth who, instead of preaching peace, are bent on raising the specter of election rigging and Kenyan-style bloodletting. They will be disappointed.
The president insisted the ruling party remains democratic with no intentions to rig the elections, indicating the party's track record will win them power for another term.
As far as the ruling MPP party is concerned, a party born from the noble Dankwa Dombo Busia political tradition, which spearheaded the national resistance to authoritarian one-party rule in Ghana in the First Republic. Rigging is not part of our DNA. The ingredients for our success in the 2024 elections will be the party's record in government these last 8 years and the exciting vision for Ghana's future outlined by our excellent presidential candidate, the Vice President, Alhaji Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia, whom the opposition leader is afraid to debate. I came out of a peaceful election, and I will leave in a peaceful election.
Meanwhile, the president is touting his achievements in the last 8 years, claiming he has not betrayed the mandate conferred by the electorate.
That in all modesty, I am exceedingly proud of my record in office and the considerable achievements that have been recorded in all sectors of national life these last 7.5 years.
The president is calling for similar support granted him for his successor. For Joy News, Nana Yauchima, Kumasi.
The national chairman of the NDC, Johnson Asiedu, has reiterated the party has said that the party will not refrain from its strong stance of committing to any peace pact. He insists that until all the conditions outlined in the party's meeting with the National Peace Council are addressed, signing of the peace pact will pose considerable danger to its members, who he claims were killed by security officers for lawfully protesting some bad decisions of the EC during the 2020 general elections. He was speaking at Amanase in the Ayensuano constituency as part of his campaign to the eastern region.
We are soldier new. We are prosio. My baba mu pay. I am minister pay. Afri mu aba opposition. Asa baba mu da. Adia I am say. Udi abayachi. Say adia me koye enya papa. Ba ma ba na teso. Me ya bibia ansi. Okoya. Da ya beche wa jira ho se. Be yi wa no. Na abai na obo ho bai. No ni ho. Naka ukwa no crosswa. Ebi akwa. Wona ukwa kwa yi wasewa. Enunti sabre ya arakoi. Wamu asi wamobo. Yebeli abatu ogu. Yawajo, yawajai. Police mpanimfo, ni soja mpanimfo, mebamu koko. Wrong instruction. Say aba ya kwa kochi, yentutuo, enkunipa. Umfa uhuni. She said, crime has no expiry date. Umfa wachina, yaku wamo, 2020, at the whole time wamo. One more month, I want to one more to two Saturday. The records in and then the minister, or what you might or what I said, the Kunipa, the fine word, the Salma minister, and I say, almost saying, like I said, about your way, or mobile side, I am no something. I can't tell me, say, or moody approach. Food is not the food.
Away from our election headquarters, the Chief of Aasedu Otafrija Agyemankwe II has expressed grave concerns over the destruction of major water sources within his community, which is posing a severe challenge for his residents. He says politicians and the security agencies can't escape blame for the devastation being caused to the environment. Max Okudeko has more.
The Chief of Aasedu Otafrija Agyemankwe II expressed worry over the destruction of the Acras, Jetibi, Okufo, Boshenso, Brim, and other river bodies, which has forced residents to rely on sachet water. He, however, criticized successive governments for failing to fulfill its responsibility to protect these vital national resources and the environment at large. He also called on corporate organizations operating within these communities to prioritize the development and social responsibility alongside their financial goals.
Before God and man, the mining activities have drastically changed our water bodies. When you go to your farm and need water, you wouldn't need to bring water with you to the farm because even the Brim River surrounds us. However, the mining activities have changed the turbidity level of the water, making it undrinkable. Since 2010, our rivers have changed due to the destruction, which has affected us greatly. I can say that the government is partly to blame, both past and current, because they are looking the other way due to elections. Meanwhile, the police, immigration, customs, and even the fire service are patrolling, yet no one seems to be asking questions.
Immigration custom officer for Bonsra, and the fire service for a Bonsra. No beer knew what he may be says a Juma woo ye. To me, crata ben and man ye Juman.
Meanwhile, the International Precious Metals Bullion has handed over 50 mechanized boreholes for the Afiasa and the neighboring communities. The founder of the International Precious Metal Bullion, John Vikings, also emphasized the importance of investing in people, which will ultimately benefit the business in the long run.
What people forget is we don't invest in business, we invest in people. If you don't invest in the people, there's no future. So this is why we're here today. We're doing the borehole project. We want everyone to be standing and strong before there's a chance to do business. Otherwise, it's not business. So we're here to invest in the people in the region. We're bringing new technologies, how to process gold with a bacterial method, so there's no chemicals involved in the process.
Max Okudeko report for Joy News.
Now, state-owned enterprises have seen a reduction in loss by 80%. According to a 2023 state ownership report by the State Interest and Governance Authority, that is SIGA, losses recorded reduced to 2.5 million Ghana cedis in 2023 compared to the 14.4 million recorded in 2022. Director General of SIGA, John Boedu, speaking at the press launch of the report, indicated the importance of the timelines of the report and the need to ensure companies are complying and filing their reports.
Worth noting that the Auditors General reported, that's 2023 reports, reported a 46% reduction in irregularities and infractions in specified entity space in the 2023 audited accounts of public boards, corporations, and other statutory institutions. SIGA will work with Auditor General, Internal Audit Agency, the boards and management of Aasedu to improve on compliance. And it must be noted that what is gratifying in this report by the Auditor General is that even the 46% reduction in the infractions, 90% of the infractions are recoverable.
Business updates coming up next. For our business story this morning, Ghana recorded a 10% drop in foreign direct inflows in 2023. That's according to consulting firm Bridgewater Advisors. And this is the lowest inflow over the past decade and 28% lower than the pandemic days. Here's more in this report.
The report stated that FDI inflows to Ghana fell by $1.4 billion in 2023. This followed a dismal performance in 2022. The country's shares of inflows into Africa and West Africa between 2024 and 2023 averaged 6% and 23% respectively. However, outflows rose by 46% to $55.76 million in 2023. In half-year 2024, Ghana estimated FDI components out of total registered investment was $186.16 million, with 69 registered projects predominantly into manufacturing, about 81% of investment value. Meanwhile, Ghana remained second in West Africa after Nigeria in the volume of greenfield investment projects. The nation has a decade of average of 36 projects compared to Nigeria's 56 projects.
It's a wrap for the business update and the AM News Bulletin on the AM show. Stay with us. We get into our news review segment shortly. Afel Moni, former GJA President, and Ishaq Ibrahim, Senior Lecturer at the UPSA School of Law, are joining us to review the newspapers. We'll be right back.